Remember when Anthony Albanese promised to cut your power bills?
Oh fuck, Dutton's doing a Trump.
That was 3 years ago to the day.
You must have been asleep, girlfriend, because you and your mates are blaming Labor for price increases that you deliberately hid from the Australian public. Angus Taylor and Scott Morrison changed legislation to push back the announcement of electricity price hikes until after the 2022 election. The Australian Energy Regulator's default market offer, showing increases of up to 18.3%, was quietly delayed, so the public wouldn't know about the LNP's mess until it was too late. You deliberately hid the truth. And what's this? Just before the election in 2022, inflation had spiked to a 22-year high, and power prices were on the increase. So let's just summarise that first piece of propaganda. Power prices, LNP hid them. Inflation was at a 22-year high and rising. Energy prices were going up 18.3%, but you hid them before you handed over government. Peter, you're bullshitting us and gaslighting us.
Okay, on to Dutton bullshit number 2.
But what's he delivered? Well, electricity prices are now up to $1,000 more than what Labor promised.
The $1,000 figure is about as genuine as a free steak dinner from a timeshare salesman. Technically possible, but mostly hot air designed to dupe you. It's gaslighting at its best. What he doesn't mention, the ABS reported just a month ago a 17.9% fall in electricity prices over the past year, thanks to Labor's rebates and actual policy work. The emphasis on up to, notice that? That's just a little sleight of hand as he cherry-picks the worst-case scenario to inflate his narrative. It's not true. Energy prices would be way above what they are now had LNP stayed in power and followed their course.
Heck, he's a serial bullshitter. On to Dutton bullshit number 3.
Relying solely on renewables comes with a staggering cost of $642 billion.
Okay, let's unpack this little piece of bullshit, shall we? $642 billion lie. Peter Dutton is waving around a $642 billion figure like it's gospel truth. With a reality check, that figure is from a report commissioned by the LNP, by them, conveniently funded to scare the pants off voters. Frontier Economics cranked out this number based on their fantasy scenario, not Labor's actual policy. Meanwhile, the Australian Energy Market Operator, AEMO, pegs the real cost of necessary infrastructure at $122 billion, an investment that will save us money and emissions in the long term. But why let facts ruin a perfectly good scare campaign by Peter Dutton? But let's just take a look at those numbers for a second. $122 billion for the total package of renewables, which is by an independent party, not a report paid for by the LNP to suit Peter Dutton's narrative. $122 billion is not far off the cost of one of his potential fantasy nuclear plants. And we're taking that as real figures, real world figures, not invented by somebody's report, paid for by us. No, that's the cost, blowout, of the Hinkley project in the UK, which is now 11 or 12 years late, not 11 years or 12 years in production or building, construction. It's 11 years late, and $90 billion for one power station that he says we're going to pay for, which is probably true because no commercial organisation is going to do it and potentially lose that much money. And of course, once it's all up and running, they'll privatise it like they always have and they always do. And we will foot the bill. They'll sell it as a discount. They can't build a railway. The railway they projected at $10 billion is now $30 billion. Look at Snowy 2. They couldn't even get that right. And we're going to trust them to build a nuclear power station? Are you fucking joking? Peter, you're gaslighting us. Give it up. Well, that about sums up Peter Dutton, the walking hat stand, and his bullshit. But this one last piece, have a listen to this. He ends his promo with this. It's fantastic.
To get our country back on track.
To get our country back on track to what, Peter? A near $1 trillion worth of debt? Not returning a budget surplus in the entire 9 years you were in power? You being voted by doctors as the worst ever health minister? The most untrusted politician? Getting us back on track to all the rorts?
Everybody knows the Turnbull government
is that what you mean by getting back on track?
And this
Because
includes
if you do, you're a fucking train wreck, pal.
I'm your elephant of joy!